Well, it's about time for another quarter note. I have a lot of records that I've been listening to for the past month and a bit, and not all of them I had a lot to say. And I mean, some of these I've even been listening to since about like maybe even April or May, and I just never really had enough to say about them. So I love doing these quarter notes. It allows me the chance to talk about some albums that I've been wanting to talk about, but as I mentioned, I don't have a whole lot to say for a full-length album review. So yeah, here are 4 albums that have been released lately that people have been asking me my opinion on. So let's go. It tears you down, but sets you free. Follow the Watcher by Return to the Earth. So this one's been making a lot of waves within the progressive rock community, and I give it a spin, and it's fine. I mean, I've had a lot of time with this album, and I keep coming back to it, hoping that something's going to like germinate or come up, but it just reminds me of a lot of the more somber approaches that we had from bands like Airbag or later Marillion or T. And I'm not a big fan of this purely atmospheric expression of music. Like, it has its time and its place, and I like how a lot of these tracks have a little bit of a longer runtime. Like the first track being at 9 minutes and 11 seconds, and the fourth track being about 10 minutes. It has a longer runtime to really stretch its legs, but I just don't feel as though it goes anywhere all that exciting, because they're always kind of like at baseline in that sense. Now, the songwriting ship, the lyrics, those are all very beautiful, and I really like how the band is able to really construct some really interesting like dynamics within the music, but at the end of the day, it always kind of left me with, I don't know, wanting a little bit more out of it. Now, I know if you're a fan of this style of music, you're really going to dig this one, but for me, I don't know, I was just kind of left wanting more and left kind of a little bit on the cold side. So it's enough to say give it a stream, but I wouldn't necessarily go running out to go and check this one out. So yeah, unfortunately, that's all I've got for Fall of the Watcher by Return to the Earth. And at their 4th album, I mean, they still have a lot of time to really develop and come into their own. So yeah, that's what I've got. The Testament by Seventh Wonder. All right, so if you are looking for some big operatic gothic symphonic metal, you come to the right place. I have been loving Seventh Wonder since their last album of Tyria, and The Testament is their 6th studio album, and I've been digging it. You know, it's been itching the scratch for like that big metal outfit that's not raw, that's not brutal, that's not aggressive, but definitely has that big bombastic kind of a sound. You know, like think of like Nightwish or Camelot or like some of those styles of metal approach. And I've been digging this track. You know, it's got 9 songs across 53 minutes, and it's the good kind of punch that you need. The one thing that I will note, though, is that a lot of these tracks will either start off or continue to be very somber in approach and very like candlelight, candelabra, kind of gothic hallway. And it's fine, but I do wish that they had a little bit more of a punch, a little bit more like energy throughout the album. And I mean, once those kind of build-ups do happen, it leads to some really brilliant and fun aspects, but I don't know, I think they kind of lean on that a little bit more. And I do love the big track of Under a Clear Blue Sky at 8 minutes and 45 seconds. It allows the group to really stretch their legs and showcase their more proggy side, because a lot of these tracks are, you know, anywhere between 5 to 6 minutes in approach. So I like a little bit longer songs in that case. So yeah, this was a good time. I had a great time. I've been coming to it every once in a while when I need that, you know, big operatic gothic sound within a metal approach. So if any of those nomenclatures make you very happy, go and check this one out. This is one that I would most likely download, you know, have it on my computer. I want to check it out when I want to, but I don't know if I would go running out to invest in it. But it's still a great time. And I would give this one, you know, some thumbs up for that one. So yeah, go and check it out. The new Four Seasons, Vivaldi Recomposed by Max Richter. And there's actually a few more people on this one. Alina Orost, and Chinkia Orchestra. Chica Orchestra. So this one is actually a follow-up to the Four Seasons Recomposed by Max Richter from Vivaldi, and it is a further recomposition of that work. And honestly, this might be the lowest point of the year in terms of music for me. I loved the original recomposed Four Seasons of Vivaldi by Max Richter. I thought it was such an interesting take on the Four Seasons. You know, it's a piece that literally everybody, I believe, has heard before. You know, like it's a staple of music, especially within the classics. And I really loved what Max was doing in terms of moving things around. Like, I played it for my stepmom, and she said, like, this would be, if there was a parallel universe, this would be their version of like what would have been. And I love when artists do that. But man, talk about an album that made something, like, took all of the things that made the first part of the album so great and made it worse. Like, every choice on this album makes it worse than the original, you know, and it just leaves me flabbergasted. Like, why would you do this? Like, every choice you have made makes an inferior album to the one that you had made before. Oh boy, I did not like this one. This was one that you want to avoid. If you're a fan of Max Richter, like, seek out some of his other works, because he has, as he always does, he has a number of albums from this year that you might want to check out, like the My Brilliant Friend soundtrack, which was great, you know, and then from 2021, you have Exiles and the Invasion, music from the original piece, because he makes brilliant soundtracks. So go and check those ones out. No, this one actually gets what I've only given this rating to one other album, and that is, it is an abomination to my ears. Only one other album that I have reviewed on this channel has received that rating. This one gets the second of that rating. This is the worst rating that you can receive. I honestly don't know what they were trying to do with this. I didn't get it. I must have missed something. There must have been a memo that I missed that recontextualizes this, but yeah, no, don't listen to this one. Do not. Pass. MVDM, The Magical Volumes, Volume 1, The Magic Volume of Dark Matter, or Magic Volume of Dark Matter. Oh, wow, that's a title. By Gospel. So Gospel already released a fantastic album this year of The Loser. If you haven't listened to it by now, this is your message to go and do so. They are kind of like that post-punk, post-grunge, kind of extreme expression of rock music that was really prevalent in like the mid-2000s with bands like At the Drive-In and the Mars Volta. They put out a brilliant album this year that utilizes a lot of progressive rock tendencies and techniques within this much more aggressive and bombastic stylings. And talk about a track that does that to the extreme. We have MVDM. That's how I'm going to truncate this. At 21 minutes. It's a single track. It's an EP of theirs. And I feel like this is a companion piece to The Loser. And it is just brilliant. It is progressive rock in its purest form today. And I wish we had so much more music like this. It is just a breath of fresh air to hear a 21-minute piece of music done in a contemporary style of music. It flows very perfectly from one section to another, without losing the through line, without becoming just 5 tracks that didn't have a split point. This is progressive rock in its purest form. I wish more bands would just do this. It just makes my heart gush hearing music like this. It's bombastic, it's abrasive, but overlaid with synths and mellotrons and moogs and taking styles of the progs from the 70s, recontextualizing it, reinventing it for today. You know, it's not just leaning on the influences of the past to the point where they become crutches. They're not just taking the styles, not doing anything, and repackaging it for today. It really is today's music utilizing the styles and techniques of yesteryear. I love this. You have to go and listen to it. My only gripe about this is that at no point does this track ever really build to a massive crescendo that I was really hoping for, that the big 21 minutes yearns for. You know, like with these 21 minutes, a lot of these, like, if you look at a lot of the tracks from the past, they have that big crescendo moment, that big moment that ties everything together. And I just don't feel as though it really has it. But that's more of an aside from my point of view of, you know, these styles of music, rather than a criticism of the track that we have. You know, it's kind of like not criticizing anything that we found on it, just wishing for something that's not in it. So yeah, even with that, this is a track that I love with my whole heart. And honestly, if they had put like 2 tracks that are about a 10-minute, we would have had an absolute masterpiece on our hands. We would have had something extremely, extremely special. And it would have very easily been my favorite album of this year. This is the case of a Run, Don't Walk. This you gotta listen to if you haven't already. Please do yourself a favor and go and listen to it, because, man, it just blew me away. And there you go. Those are my 4. I do want to end this by also shining the light on Trope with their album of Elethromania, I think is how you pronounce it. Elethromania, I think is how you pronounce it. I saw them open up for Symphony X and Haken on the North American tour that Symphony X was doing for their 25th anniversary, and Haken was opening up for them. But man, Trope blew me away. You need to check out their album. They kind of blend Pink Floyd and Tool. Like, a lot of their songs sound lifted from 10,000 Days from Tool, but recontextualized in a Pink Floyd kind of a lens. So I highly recommend it. I've been listening to their stuff all this spring and into the summer. A great band, and so that's a little bit of a recommendation after all this. And one of the main reasons why I didn't include it within the 4 albums is that it came out last year, and I sorely missed the chance to review it then. So there you go. Those are my 4 with a recommendation to go and check it out. What have you guys been listening to? What was your favorite album that I've mentioned within the mix that I've had for this time? Yeah, go and listen to them, because they're all great. They're all fantastic. But which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? Which one surprised you the most? Go and listen to them all, except for that Max Richter album. Leave that one alone. And come on back and let me know what your favorite one was from the bunch. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.